Hello and welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. I'm Heidi Mark, coach and biggest cheerleader for successful but secretly overwhelmed women. As well as weekly episodes here on the podcast, you can find out more about what I offer by going to heidimark.co.uk. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. I'm really excited because it's raining here in the UK and I love my garden, as you will know if you've been listening for a while. And although it's been so beautiful having the kind of heat that usually we'd have to get on a plane for and, wait for and get excited about, and I've really relished having that kind of beautiful summer, I do get upset when my plants are suffering and I'm kind of walking around talking to them and making sure they're okay, and there's a limit to what I can do just because my garden's really big. And yeah, I could spend, probably all day watering my garden, and how lucky am I? Woohoo! But yeah, I'm a little bit upset that there's a couple of plants, maybe 2 or 3, that I might have lost, and it does feel like a small little death because I love my garden. But anyway, I think the thing to remember for me is that the nature of gardening is that some things survive and some things don't, and I have usually a really kind of easy attitude with that. But with this extended period of not quite enough rain, we've had a little bit, but just not enough to really give that lovely soaking that we need in the summer. Some of my plants have just not looked very happy. So I've really enjoyed today because it starts off with a little bit of rain, and then by this afternoon it was that proper wet, heavy rain, and the water butt was nearly empty, and just listening to it pouring off the roof into the water butt. And it's just, there's something about that. It's like that nourishment we find when we start to pay attention to what we need, and it's like you just fill up really quickly. It's like you just soak the relaxation in, or you soak the ease in, or you just soak all that goodness that, well, I guess for me it's overwhelm that blocks that coming in. I don't know about you, but if I look back in my life and the times when I was really stressed and overwhelmed, it wasn't that there wasn't good stuff available. It's just that I either couldn't see it or couldn't really absorb it because there's something. I've been writing my book. That's another thing I want to tell you about. I've been writing my book, and it's really making me think about overwhelm even more, and it's such a trickster. Yeah. So anyway, just kind of struck me that whole, you just imagine that like the rain comes and fills up the water butts and then fills up, like sprinkles all that beautiful water over the plant leaves. It's just like coming alive again and recovering after a really stressful period. So, and it's free water for my plants, and I'm just delighted, so happy. Anyway, how are you doing? I'm having a really exciting week. So Simon's been away for 10 days now. He's away for 2 weeks working, and I decided to use that time as a boundary around finishing my book. And to start with, I noticed, as I might have mentioned in last week's episode, that I was getting kind of a bit pushy and stressy and like, this is really hard. And then I decided to make it easy, and ever since then it's just been, okay, I just write my book. I just write. I don't feel like it, I'm just going to write, because then it's done and then I'll feel good. So I'm not really focusing on getting the book done. I'm focusing on, I've made this commitment, it feels really nice, this is really lucky. And then once I've written, I always enjoy the writing once I do it, but when it's done, it's just like I've done it. And putting boundaries around that I find really helpful, rather than thinking, well, I could write for a bit more, what if I kept writing and then I could finish it. And instead I've just been saying, no, that's done. So sometimes it's been done before breakfast, sometimes it's not done till just before bed. And that's been really helpful as well, because I had got into quite a strict thing of I write best in the morning. And it's kind of like, if I miss that time, or there's something else that I need to do with that creative energy, then now I can't write. And I realised I really needed to get rid of that habit because it wasn't serving me, but it would have used to have served me. So the reason I had that was the whole identifying when's the best place, that as well. When's the best time in my working day to do certain tasks, and then just going with that flow. And now I think I'm ready to kind of mix that up a bit and just break that structure. And I really like that about this Gentle Rebellion, that we put in structures to support ourselves, so we can look at where do I need, usually it's the mind, sometimes it's the body, but usually it's the mind. It's like if we can just put these little rail tracks in for the mind to stabilize it onto a more positive way of looking at the world, then once I've got those practices in place, that works really well, and now things are getting better. And then after a while, I really need to break structures. I don't know about you, that's part of my inner rebellion, is just to say, okay, now I'm going to try it differently. I'm going to see if I can write in the evening. I'm going to see if I can write in the afternoon. I'm going to see if I can whatever. So that's been fun, because yes, I can. And that just it's just made my whole day feel longer, fatter, more expansive. It's just been absolutely wonderful. And yes, that does mean you can get your hands on the book fairly soon, because I'm just in this do it, get it out into the world. It's been going on for over 2 years. Version 3 is the book. Anyway, I'll talk about that another time. I'm also celebrating something very exciting. We had the first ever Get Your Life Back baby. I'm so excited. We've had puppies, we've had promotions, we've had all sorts of things. And now we have a real life human baby born into a world where we can make overwhelm optional for her already. How cool is that? So exciting. And I'm also really excited because we had the last coaching session and it just blew me away. So when I remember when I launched Get Your Life Back, and it's the working title, and I still haven't done anything with it because people like it and it's probably a bit too late to change it now. And I was like, it takes courage, doesn't it? So it's like, will it work? And I tested it, and it didn't come out of nowhere. It came from previous things and was a major up level. But it's still that thing, isn't it, of trying and testing and having courage and everything. And people got their life back, and I thought that was amazing. But people get so much more out of it. It's ridiculous. So now I just feel like it needs a new name, because I don't know what that name would be, because I'm still thinking about it. But anyway, it was so exciting because I'm so honoured and privileged and proud to have spent over a year with these amazing women who dared to join Get Your Life Back, who trusted me, who trusted themselves, who did the work. It's just such a magical experience when we get to help each other in this way. So magical. And as usual, we went around the group with something to celebrate and a support request. And the first person to go had things to celebrate. I can't remember now, but I guess what they were actually celebrating was the fact they didn't have a support request, because they just said, life's really good. Life's really good. So how amazing is that? It's that, isn't it? That's getting your life back, but that's more than that. That's that deep satisfaction. And this person has moved jobs, negotiated even better terms, been through all sorts of things, and it's just so good. I'm so excited. I love Get Your Life Back. I love the people, my clients inside Get Your Life Back. It's so good, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to find out who will. Then I'm getting all curious and excited about, I wonder who will be in the next round. So the next round starts the weekend of the 10th and 11th of September. I've sent an email out. I haven't done anything else yet, except create this beautiful page of information where I've just broken all the rules about how you're apparently, well, not all of the rules. I mean, the correct information's up there, but I've just kind of rambled a bit in a Heidi kind of way, in a bit more of a chatty way of just saying, yeah, this is what it's about. This is my invitation from my heart to yours. If this calls to you, then come and join us. I mean, the only way you can join is to come and have a chat anyway, so it's not like you can press a button and join. But yeah, if it's calling to you, I love that. I love that just empowering way of working, of just saying, if you want, this is what I have. If you want it, I invite you to come and talk to me about it. I just think it's so gentle. It's a gentle rebellion against other ways people sell things. So that's going on. If you want to go and check out the new page, it is at www.heidimark.co.uk/GYLB, and the link will be in the show notes below this episode. And then the other thing that I'm so excited about is I have created this special summer thing that I was talking about last week, if you caught last week's episode, and I've decided to call it the Summer of Ease Bundle. But I keep writing it backwards. I keep going, the Summer of Bundle Ease or something. It's hilarious. Anyway, it's hilarious to me. The Summer of Ease Bundle. So the idea of this is I've taken my 2 tiny courses that actually I haven't been making available. I don't know why. I think I just haven't got round to it. And now I am. And eventually I will stick them on the website. But for August only, so this is until the 31st of August, you can get both of them and save £80. So this is really, really exciting. The point is to get them now if you're going on holiday. Sorry if you already had your holiday. You don't have to be on holiday, but I just, in my mind, I'm imagining particularly the 7-day Overwhelm to Ease audio course. I re-listened to it the other day and it's so nice. And I just thought, I can imagine somebody deciding that they're going to invest in this course for themselves, take it on holiday, and then just lie in a hammock or on the beach and or you could even listen to it on the car journey. It's only a few minutes every day. It's a tiny, huge course. So it's very small, but it's just got so much goodness in it. But it's obviously not overwhelming, because what would be the point of that? Everything I do is designed to be really, really easy to fit into your life, to support you out of overwhelm as you use it, as you absorb the skills and try out the skills of making overwhelm optional for you, and also not to add to your overwhelm. And that's really clever, if I say so myself. And I'm really proud of that course, because it is so nourishing. It coaches you through how to use it, so it gives you options. So if you want to go deeper, you can do some messy journaling questions, but you don't have to. And then it's talking about how not to be tempted to do that if you're usually one of those kind of, like I've always been, oh yes, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to do it, because actually you don't necessarily need to, and you could do that later, or you could get even more from not doing it, because it's not what we do, it's the how we do it. And the process of being coached through that in this audio, I think is so powerful. Being given an option of how you absorb a course, and being reminded to choose the most nourishing way, the most easy way, the way that feels most good, the way your heart's calling you to do it. I think there's lots of layers in this course that when I created it, I didn't really think about. And then re-listening to it over a year later, I just realised there's too much goodness in there to have it hidden away, and that I should be actively promoting it. So that's what I'm going to do. But for now, I've bundled it together with my other tiny course, which is called Time for You. So having time for yourself is obviously incredibly important. It's life-changing when we feel like we have time and space in our own life for ourselves. But it's not a matter of scheduling, and a lot of tips and techniques and courses about getting more time for yourself are very much about time, focused on time as a linear thing, whereas this focuses on time being a feeling, which it is, right? It's much more complicated than just scheduling some time for yourself, because how often do you get time for yourself? And then you find it really hard to use that time for yourself, or to let go of work or other responsibilities and really be present in that time for yourself, to relax and have fun. So time for yourself, having time for you in your life, I believe should be, and I don't like the word should obviously, but I believe it is a non-negotiable. It's an essential part of living a full life. It's absolutely essential, but it can be hard to negotiate for so many different reasons. And that's what this course tackles. So it teaches you my 3-step process to do it, and it does it in 2 different ways. And I think it's a real gift of this course, because I ran this as a master class in February, and I recorded it and I've put that in the course, but then I also created a different way of doing it. So just the 3-step process, 3 tiny videos. So you can do it either way. You can decide, oh, I'm going to do the masterclass, I'm going to get super comfortable, I'm just going to get my journal out, I'm going to chill out, I'm going to let Heidi take me through the whole process in one go. Or you can do it the other way with these tiny videos. So both ways are there, and I just think that's again, like in the other course, giving you a choice. What feels right, what feels easiest, how you do it matters. And you can swap and change as well, because the idea is to just go and practice this process and get some time for yourself, and then repeat it until it just becomes what you do, till it just becomes, yeah, I'm not really available for that squishy feeling of not having any space in my own life for me. That's not okay. I'm done with that. So it's a practice, it's about embedding it, and it's all there for you. Anyway, so there's that one, and that one comes with my special audio collection called 4 Days When You're Too Busy, which is just a series of very special audios which are very short, either for specific times of the day, or like the 1 minute mark, to use anywhere during the day. And that's to support you in, well, all of it: getting out of overwhelm, staying out of overwhelm, letting go of your day, focusing, etc. It's just so nourishing. I love audios. I have audios that I use. I'm laughing because I recorded myself some new Morning Promise ones the other day and forgot to plug in the mic, and I didn't check them. I just sent them to my phone and then had them ready and went to use it, and it was just terrible audio. Could not hear a word. What a load of rubbish. Duh. Anyway, I've never done that before. I guess because if it's for a client, I listen to it back and check it. But for me, I just thought, oh, it's done. No, it wasn't. So I've got to do that again. Funny. I'm also thinking of doing some lovely Nidra ones for me. So Nidra is like hypnosis, but permissive. So I really struggle with hypnosis when it says, and you walk down these steps, and you can feel yourself walking down the steps, and my whole body is going, no. Whereas in Nidra, because it's got that lovely permissive language of do this or not. I love that. Or not. And because that's how I've trained, and that's the language I use, well, we choose what we, well, when we deliberately choose, we choose what we want, right? So yeah, I think I'll do some of those as well. Lovely. Anyway, today, oh, sorry, forgot. So I bundled those 2 courses together for you. Oh, sorry. I'll tell you how to get hold of them now. You go to www.heidimark.co.uk/summer, and that link will be in the show notes as well. So the Overwhelm to Ease course is usually £97, and it will be £97 again from the 1st of September. And the Time for You one, with the 4 Days When You're Too Busy as a free bonus, that one's £147. And I've put them together for you. No, it's not 140, it's 127, and then as a bundle I've made it into a lovely price of £144, so you can save £80. You can get hold of both of them, really nourish yourself, get more ease, more headspace, more feelings, that delicious feeling of time for you, space for you in your life. I really hope you'll take me up on those offers. They're just so good. So today, I've decided to read you a short passage from a journal I found of mine. Now, as you know, if you've been hanging out with me over here for a while, I messy journal and then I burn my journals. However, occasionally I decide to create a journal that is like not necessarily the highlights, but if I'm working on a big thing I want to shift, then I might have a lovely hardback book. And I found that I still had this. I didn't know I still had it. I was helping the spiders relocate. So I was finding spiders everywhere. And I found this, and I just opened it and found this passage and was quite blown away by it and how different things are for me today. So I'm going to share that with you so you can understand where I was even more and just compare that with where I am now with this continued and deepening commitment to just not being available for that kind of stress. But this shows what was normal for me and how stuck I was. So I actually don't know what year it's from. It will be somewhere before 2018. I don't honestly, there's no date on it. Anyway, the question I've asked myself is, what are you not loving doing or even hating? Waking up in the night and mentally rehearsing to prevent stressful events happening. Working so hard I'm too tired to think, let alone talk to Simon or have fun. Worrying about work, bad things happening to me, Simon or the boys, money, moving, car breaking down, losing my health and being unable to pay for anything. Getting terrible tenants who we can't evict and losing both houses. The neighbour's dog barking, or them blocking our drive and being unable to get out. Being unable to explain maths to year 12. Oh, that was so stressful. Losing my credibility at work, etc., etc., etc. It says the words etc. Obviously, I just had enough. And this is the bit that really struck me. Having no time or energy to really live properly and enjoy myself, now I'm successful. Having no time or energy to really live properly and enjoy myself, now I'm successful. And then there's a whole list of stuff like paperwork, sorting tech problems out, that kind of thing, being cold, grey damp weather, tedious jobs. But they're kind of much of a muchness, aren't they? They're the things that become less important once we get ourselves back, once we get our lives back. We cope better with those things. But these deep things, these really struck me, and that having no time or energy to really live, that is just that's really sad. And this is me spending several years searching. So I remained in this state for several years before I burnt out. Now, it doesn't mean I was constantly in that state. We're never constantly in this state, are we? And I would argue that that's one of actually the problems that keeps us stuck, that these gaps when we do feel better for whatever reason, because something works for a while, or we go on holiday, or we just start sleeping better, or somebody difficult at work leaves, or we change jobs, or we move house, or, these things that we are waiting for, that we think, oh, that will solve everything. Those things help, and then that keeps us, that pause in the overwhelm, in the real struggle. I think that keeps us stuck for longer. I wonder now, looking back, if because nobody knew how I felt. Like, nobody knew. This is a very private diary I'm sharing with you. I mean, I used to talk to close friends and to Simon about my stress, but the understanding was that, well, it's a stressful job. It felt like I'd done this deal, like in order to have, well, it was exactly like that. I believe that in order to have what I wanted, the deal was that I had to find a way to cope with the stress, that I had to toughen up, that this is just how things are. And I think that's really common, and sadly I think it's still what's going on. So I wonder if I hadn't reached a stage of burnout, and I would also say that the reason I reached a stage of burnout was because some things happened, getting bullied, a change of management, which which created even more stress. They're moving house, even though it reduced my commute. Moving house is stressful, right? So there were other things, big things, external things that added pressure, which accumulated to the extent that, the amount of stress I was under, I started to crack. And I'm really grateful for that now, because if that hadn't happened, I could still be there. I could still be in that terrible circle of going through periods of having no time and energy to really enjoy my success, and then thinking that, yeah, actually I'm all right, I can get by, I'm determined, because I'm such an optimist. I would find a theme song for the day and rev myself up for the day, and yeah, I'm winning, woohoo. Oh, poor me, poor Heidi back then. It's not all terrible, none of it's all terrible, but you know what? I'm done with that now. So if I compare myself to that now, I'm just not available for any of that. It's just not. It's completely non-negotiable. My expectations of life are so much higher. I'm just not available. I'm not available for that kind of stress. There's no way I would ever treat my body that badly ever again. Just not available. Now, does that mean I'm always perfect? No. Sometimes, I'll overwork for a bit, I'll overdo it, and then I have to rest. But it doesn't go on and on and on. It's the consistent not listening. It's the consistency of it that's the problem. It's the believing it's the only way. It's the commitment to pushing on through. And I was so committed to pushing on through. I was brilliant at pushing on through. Oh, I was amazing. And I would Google anything to help me keep that job and push on through that stress. And I'm laughing now, because I just look back and think, oh, but there was such an easier way, but I could not see it. It was literally this concrete fog of overwhelm. I remember writing down, I can't see the wood from the trees. I literally could not see. And yet from here, out of the overwhelm, I can see a million different options. And in my life now, I always know that trying to push through the overwhelm just isn't going to work. It costs me, and it's also so inefficient. It's just really, really, I'm just not available for it. I'm not interested. It doesn't work for me. I'm no longer prepared to not listen to my heart, to have that heaviness, that tightness in my chest that ends up coming out with kind of a squeaky voice of feeling small and unheard, and just not being able to breathe properly, and just not feeling like there's any space for me. I'm just not available for it. So nowadays, oh my goodness, I was sat down the garden. Now it's raining, but we've just had several weeks of absolutely glorious weather. And every morning I've been going down with my journal, or sometimes not even with my journal, sometimes messy journaling in my mind, because I can't even be bothered to messy journal it, because unless I need to get it out of my head onto paper, because that feels like an emptying of my head onto the paper, then I'll just kind of mull in my mind messily and without trying to capture anything. So it's kind of like a relaxing, but I often take the journal anyway in case there's some golden nugget I want to keep. Anyway, so every morning I go down, I have my coffee, my dogs come, the chickens come down, Chomsky the cat comes down, and I've been sat under our fig tree, and the fig tree's got really low, and the birds are, because the fig tree has really big leaves, the birds are really close, and they just seem completely unbothered by us, all of us, all 5 of us are down there together and silently sitting under this tree. And it's just amazing. It's amazing to be that close to birds and then not be scared. It's just such a joy. And then watching the sunlight coming in through the leaves and just having the space to absorb that, knowing that I can just absorb it. I have the time, I've created the space, I've practiced paying attention to the beauty and the goodness in my life, and it has paid off, because I can sit in that chair and I can feel so full of gratitude, so full of sheer utter joy, contentment. I know that I'm safe, I know that I'm loved, I know that I love myself and will always look after myself now. I just know. It's just how things are. And so it's like it literally is the opposite of that sentence, having no time or energy to really live properly, enjoy myself. Now I'm successful. So the purpose of me leaving and setting up my own business was to create success on my terms. And I've done it, and it's amazing. And it's 1,000 times better than I could have even imagined. And isn't that the thing? We can't imagine how good things can be. Even when we're out of overwhelm, we can't imagine. We can do our best, and it's one of the techniques I teach is called imagining in. It's one of the things we do in the dream and plan bit of Get Your Life Back, because you can just daydream your life and just say, what do I really want? How do I want to feel? As soon as you start tapping into that, it becomes very physical. My body's just so relaxed, so happy, like my heart's just full, my body's buzzing, and I'm so happy. But my mind isn't actually very good at saying what I want in order to get that. So in the end, it becomes, well, I want to feel like this. This is how I want to feel. And how I feel when I sit in the garden and just absorb my life and absorb the gratitude, really savour it. That's what I wanted. But I couldn't have explained it. I mean, I had an idea, but it felt impossible. It felt like, how can you have that? Because we're taught that we have to strive. We have to prove ourselves, almost like we have to justify our existence. And it's rubbish. I'm done with it. It's time to rebel against that, but gently and quietly, so as not to make a fuss, so nobody notices, and we don't have to make a big deal out of it or justify it or explain, waste energy. We just can just do it quietly inside, gently rebelling. So say it with me. I'm not available for overwhelm. It's not for me. It's just not who I am. I'm the kind of person who lives without overwhelm. Even if this isn't true for you yet, just see how this sits with you. Just imagine that you become the kind of person who just doesn't do overwhelm. I'm the kind of person who learnt the skills to just live without overwhelm. That's just who I am. It's just who I am. It's just what I do. I'm not available for overwhelm. I refuse to push through overwhelm. I refuse to make decisions from overwhelm. It's just not what I do. That's it. Full stop. You just decide. Obviously, you just decide, and then you have to do something about it, like learn the skills. So, listen to this podcast, get hold of the 1 minute mark, use the 1 minute mark, notice what happens when you use the 1 minute mark, use it again, forget to use it, forgive yourself. It's all the same. It's the same pattern. It's a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to work out for you the best way for you to live. Because even though listening to this podcast, you probably have a lot in common with me. So I would say all my clients have similarities with me, similar values, and I love all of them. They're the kind of women I want to hang out with, and I do. And God, I'm so lucky. But it doesn't mean that we all have exactly the same way of living, because we're all different. And that's the point, right? The point is to get out of your head, to stop listening to all the external distractions and go within and listen to your heart, listen to your body, let them become part of the conversation, because the mind really isn't very good at helping us learn how to live really well. It is excellent at keeping us alive. It will tell you every single possible danger. It will always keep you safe and anxious and overwhelmed. Oh, bless our minds. Bless our human minds. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed me sharing something very personal from a previous diary. and I hope you understand just how worth it is, just how much easier life can be for you. And you don't have to make a big deal out of it. It doesn't have to be, I did it the hard way. You get to do it the easier way. So what's available to you to help you? Well, this podcast, the 1 minute mark, the link for that is in the show notes below. Get hold of that. Keep the 3 emails that give you some help using it. Or check out the page for the summer. I'm going to do it the wrong way around again. The Summer of Bundle. No, the Summer of Ease bundle, the special offer, save £80 or just buy them separately, whatever works for you. Go and check that out by going to heidimark.co.uk/summer. And then if you want to know more about Get Your Life Back, if you think it might be for you, I can't wait to meet you. Zoom meet, woohoo! Go to heidimark.co.uk/GYLB. Get Your Life Back. All of that will be in the show notes just below this episode. Can't wait to see people taking advantage of that offer. And I've also put somewhere on the page that you please let me know where you listen to the courses, because I've got in my head, I've got hammocks, I've got beaches, I've got people walking up hills, and I'm just really curious, where will you do yours? So cool, so lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's so lovely to have you here. It just is really, really nice. I love every single listener. I mean, obviously I don't have your names, but when the little email comes through saying who's listened, how many people have listened to each episode, and I just think, that's really nice. And some people go back and listen to old episodes, but it's just so lovely. Really appreciate it. Love you being here. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If this resonates with you, please use the like, subscribe and share buttons to help other people find their way here too. And please do go to www.heidimark.co.uk/the 1 minute mark with an E to join my mailing list and receive my free 1 minute life-changing audio practice.